To the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo. A huevo. Doesn't matter where you from. Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the Digz. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos el programa, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, and welcome to Match Week 1. Your LA Galaxy are back, and of course, this podcast is always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans and La Cuna Galaxians, wherever you may be. MLS fans, hey, you're welcome here too, and good luck to all those MLS teams kicking off. Today, like I mentioned, we finally have a match. It's match week, and we have a match to preview as your LA Galaxy kicks off their season at home this weekend, Sunday, February 23rd, against the new team in MLS, San Diego FC. Special guest, Tony Sanchez, co-founder of San Diego Football and host of Two Balls and a Mic, will be joining us to take a look at the San Diego team and how they might look in their first ever game and what a game it is as they take on the defending champs. We'll also take a look at the Mateos Nascimiento signing, Sean Davis being placed on waivers, and what it means for the Galaxy long-term. Plus, we were at the Digz today to try the new concessions and check out the new renovations. And geez, let me tell you, the Galaxy's home has received a noticeable upgrade. It is looking fly. All that and more on today's episode. But before we get to all of that, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. And of course, you can always find my written work at Extra Time Talk and the Sporting Tribune. And you can find me online at El Escudero de LA, just like you guys see on your screen. And let me bring you back my co-host, El Yerno Guapo, El Gitano Perdido y El Papa de Nata, Ananda Kirana. Papa, it's game week. How you feeling?
It's game time, man. It's been a long or short time coming. I don't know. It's felt like a quick off season, but maybe the anticipation has felt it, made it seem longer. But finally, Papa, match week 1. We get to go back in the Digz. I mean, I know you were there today, and we'll talk about your experience there today, which I can't wait, man. Like, I can't wait to step foot in that stadium. I shored up my season tickets, so I'm all ready to go. Yeah. I'm officially a season ticket holder for this year, guys. So really, really pumped about that. I will be in the 140-39 area. So if you do see me there, just say hello, give me a wave, and I will have some.
Take a shot.
Some mucho amor slaps on me as well. Some little stickers. But yeah, man, can't wait to step foot in the Digz. We're going to share with you guys, or really not we, but Rob's going to share with you guys his sort of your stadium tour today, Papa. But I can't wait because our house just got renovated, right? And a renovated house, always that fresh smell of paint, freshly cut grass, all that good stuff, right? So before we get into that, guys, and of course, we're going to bring on a special guest to talk about San Diego. Of course, this is their inaugural season, so we don't know much about them. So hopefully you guys find this really informative and really good, as well as we get to know who our opponent is and what they're up to this season. But guys, let me just get right into the housekeeping, and we'll get to the quick some couple news bits. And of course, Rob will talk about our new home, or our new renovated home, I guess. So guys, our tags are right there. And as I always say, you can follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Social handles are right there for everyone watching on YouTube. And guys, just wanted to say thank you again for your support. This is season 3 for us. The first time we're defending champs, Rob. The first season that we are defending the crown. Yeah. And then my mind goes to, qué presión, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we are on the charge to 500. We're getting really, really close. So if you do like what you're listening to and you have not yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As Anthony says in the chat, guys, don't forget to hit the likes as well. These are going to be the best ways you're going to support the show, guys. And the other way you can support as well is to contribute to our Horchata Fund. That's buymecoffee.com/La Cuna Galaxiana. And you can contribute to mine and Rob's Horchata Fund. And of course, Rob, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana, man. What episode is this? We're getting up there. 172.
Yeah,
Damn.
172. And lo and behold, we have not been canceled yet. It's crazy. I mean, we had to have said some foolishness to watch. Like in 6 months, somebody's going to go into the catalog and be like, "Oh, yo, cancel these fools for this." But
every episode.
Yeah, just too much shenanigans. And yeah, like Ananda said, thank you guys for being in chat. But yeah, let's get into it because we have a bunch to get into. And not only that, but we have a good guest to bring on to tell us about the new debutantes in the league. So yeah, like Ananda was saying, I was at the Digz today, and it was quite stunning. You know, there's so much going on. I mean, they're working around the clock right now to go ahead and get everything finished. You know, but if it looks anything like and it feels anything like what they've already done, then it's going to be spectacular. I mean, Ananda, there was a bunch that got upgraded. The field side west seats, which are kind of like the premium field seats on both sides there, up and down the bench area. There are new team benches, new premium cabana seats. Oh, bro, like. If we ever get money, we're getting the cabanas. Just spectacular. I mean, unlimited food and drink, and there's like a kitchen station right next to you and a bar right next to you. And yeah, no, it's fire. Like I said, if I ever get money, I'm getting one of these for sure.
Those are the cabanas that are above the Amex, like the restaurant
right next to it.
Right.
Yeah, right next to. Yeah. So and you know, if you have cheddar, you can pick one of these up for, you know, about 20 racks. You know, fields 6 people. Yeah. But
cash rules everything around me, man.
Yeah, great song. But the premium field side seats are really reasonable, man. I heard that and now I'm not so mad at little Timmy, right? So shout out Lacuna Matata and Liga G. But yeah, no, it's $350 for the field side seats, but the view is spectacular, and it's unlimited food and drink as well, and you have a bar right there.
Is it these right here with the mesh?
Yeah, they're gonna be those right there. Oh, and I didn't mention that the cabanas, they have not only like a picnic style table, but they also have these style seats as well, so you can go ahead and have that like game experience. The press area is gorgeous. They redid the press area, not like the actual like outside seats, but like where, you know, press, you know, congregates, you know, like it's yeah, like I said, quite honestly stunning what they've done. And of course, you guys have already seen the seats that they've done. All the seats are done now. It looks spectacular. And then, you know, you go around and you see the aesthetic and you're like, wow, they really leveled up. And then you're like, how can they top this? And then they take you on, you know, the concession tour where, you know, they were like, hey, try these foods that we're going to be debuting. Let us know what you think, you know, go ahead and write about it.
Yeah, this is what I came for. This is what I want to hear, because I've heard some really, really good things.
Ooh, that makes me excited. It was fire, bro. It was absolutely fire. And let me preface, and chat, don't cancel me. LAFC also had a similar day yesterday, and I wasn't there, but I did see nuestra colega, our colleague, Moni. She was there, right? Mónica Delgado for Pase Filtrado. Shout out. And her video was great too, but theirs was very, very different than the Galaxy's in style, right? Because they put out a spread and kind of made it look like a gala, like a banquet dinner or something like that, right? So okay. It looked really nice, and the food looked really good as well. But you know, this was different in style, and what was cool about it is they took us around in stations, kind of like round. I don't know if you ever did round robin in school, right? But they took us around in stations, and as they were taking us around the stations, like it gave us a chance to see all the different renovations at the Digz. Like, I mean, they renovated signs and updated signs, or like put new signs in. They did new things, new improvements to the bathrooms. There's you're gonna like this one. Right next to Lars, there's now by the corner canteen, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
There's a beer station, one of those where like you don't have to like wait to get checked out or anything. You just like walk through and like hit your card, right? So it's like one of those self-serve beer stations.
Oh,
so
I remember. I think I remember that from our Austin trip. They had one of those. I was like, we should get one of these at the stadium.
Well,
it's super convenient.
Well, now they have it. So anyway, so like that's everywhere, right? So now they take us around to like these different stations, right? And we pulled up on Chef and shout out to all the chefs out there because they were doing work and preparing a bunch of food and making sure it was all nice, hot, and delicious. We started on the barbecue pulled pork. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we didn't. We started it with AFCHA. Pupusas with the purpose. Shout out Steven and his team over there, man. Still doing it strong for Los Niños in Central America, and the entire staff was just awesome. So when you get a chance, go ahead and pull up on them. They're going to be next to Papa's Barbecue this year, so
Nice.
go ahead and check them out. That's going to be their permanent home now. So anyway, so we pulled up on them first, and the pupusas were exceptional. They had cheese, they had
Per usual.
per usual, and then they had platanitos as well. So if you're Ecuadorian like me, you hear bananas and you're just like, yeah, sign me up. So Leo has a question. He says, I have a question. How wide are the chairs? Are they fluffy size friendly? Bro, I mean, I'm fluffy too, bro. And I was very comfortable. So
Nice.
no, it's a good experience to sit and you're comfortable. It's not like
Rob,
those hard.
Is it mesh throughout the whole stadium? Is that the whole stadium, or is that certain sections only?
Yeah, certain sections are the mesh, and
Okay.
certain sections are going to be like the safe standing or like the seats in an ACB. I didn't sit though in like the 137 to like 139 section. I just walked by it. But yeah, man, after the pupusas, they kept it going real strong with the barbecue pulled pork mac and cheese. Also exceptional. By that point, I was like, I'm gonna have to get another stomach because I might not make it out of here alive. But damned it if I didn't try. Right, not pictured here. What was the pizza that we tried? Man, I really wish I had their name on me right now. But when I remember, I'll go ahead and shout it out because this pizza was spectacular, Ananda. It was like I don't even know how to call it. It was like artisan pizza, just man, it was
thin slice,
super nice.
Kind of thinner.
No, it was no. It was like thicker crust pizza, and Chef was telling us some a story about how like they realized that like kombu and like gives the crust like a good umami. Like it was crazy, man, crazy good. I had the pepperoni, and just like crunchy but fluffy and chewy at the same time. Oh, really nice. Everybody's like in chats like, yo, finally Rob's getting his payback for us always talking about food in the chat. Yes, I am. Because they only followed it up with beef rib and wagyu burgers pictured here. Man, these were fire as well. They had like a red relish on them that it was like a little picantito, but like a little sweet as well. Gave it a really, really nice flavor. And then just when I thought the madness could not end, we hit Ramen Town, man. We got to the ramen station, and I was like, is that ramen? And Chef like, yeah, it sure is. And we're actually working on a ramen burrito. And I was like, what's a ramen burrito? He's like, just wait, you're gonna find out soon. So the ramen was great. I mean, the broth, a good ramen by the broth, right? So the broth was killer. Like the meats and like the kimchi and everything like that the noodles were really good.
I'm gonna have to save like my money not for merch this year, for food, man, which hasn't been a problem like in past years, right? So this is like a really, really big upgrade. So man, like just shout out, I guess, to everyone involved. And I guess this is one of the things that Tom Braun really had on his mind, right? Is like increasing that fan experience. And of course, upgrading or one-upping the food options, right? I mean, not that they weren't. I mean, I'd always go for the AFCHA, right? Like the pupusa truck was always on point, but everything else I was sort of reluctant to try. But man, this is
don't be. I mean, it's great, and yeah, you should definitely always start with AFCHA, because it's with the purpose. Pupusas with the purpose. But everything was really good. Don't be scared, man. I mean, the burgers were I mean, Ananda grills himself a nice burger, makes himself really, really good sliders. But this burger, man, was really, really nice. I'm probably gonna have to go pick that up at some point on opening day, or as soon as I can, right? But anyway, man, I mean, the Digz looks nice, and now the LA Galaxy players are going to be looking super nice in it because these champions just received their rings today. And yeah, these are just, again, the Galaxy are going to be flossing in a renovated stadium with upgraded food with these beautiful rings, and you get the story here. This is the left side features the player's name, diamond set number, and palm trees honoring the undefeated 2024 home stadium. The right side showcases LA Galaxy above the entrance MLS Cup trophy, adorned with 18 diamonds for each record-breaking playoff goal, with 2024 cementing their championship legacy. Boom. Yeah, and then of course, shout out to Total LA Galaxy for this image of Don Raul sporting the 6 rings. I mean, man,
Shout
is better
out Thanos,
than
man. Shout out Thanos, man.
I was gonna say he's better than Thanos. Thanos only had 5, baby. I mean, Don Raul has 6 stones. So I mean, I don't know what you calling that, the Campeón stone or something like that, but yeah, he has 6 on him now. And of course, inside you have the LA Galaxy 2, New York 1, the date. And on the other side, this is Ricky's ring, apparently, because you have the RP number 10. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, get there early on Sunday because you're going to want your replica. This is just a really beautiful ring, really, really classy. Yeah, so get there early, pick it up. I think it's the first 5,000 or 10,000. I'm not sure. We'll go ahead and double check on that one. But yeah, they're limited. So make sure to get there. So to LA Galaxy team news, there was a huge signing today, Ananda. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of this new striker. He's amazing. Called 2025 GAM. The LA Galaxy acquired 100K and 2025 GAM from DC United in exchange for 125K and 2026 GAM, right? So that's about a 25% markup if I'm doing my math right, and I'm not sure that I am because I'm a writer, not a mathematician. But yeah, apparently they needed the cheddar now for something, maybe to finish up the Nascimiento deal. But yeah, they needed the cheddar now, so they're trading DC United 100 for 125 in 2026 GAM. So, but there are other LA Galaxy team news items that we need to cover. Sean Davis, he was here and then he was gone. I wrote an article about him being placed on waivers, and I found out that it was 2 months to the day since the Gaston Brugman deal. So the Galaxy announced yesterday, Wednesday, that they placed the midfielder on waivers, and like I mentioned, 2 months to the day. Tom Bogert, he reported that this is another move caused by camp constraints. Of course, now Sean Davis is going to have his pick because he's not going to really count against the cap too much, and so I've already heard that he's being looked at by New York again. But yeah, and waiving Davis, the Galaxy used one of their club's 2 buyouts of a guaranteed contract this season. Of course, I mentioned only scant time with the Galaxy and scant minutes in the CVI, only logged 64 in 4 CVI matches, and the bulk of those came in the first Galaxy match against Austin, where he played the entire second half, right? He didn't really see time at all with that starting, what can be considered the starting lineup, right? And then from there, he only appeared one other time, a 19-minute cameo in the 2-2 against Charlotte FC. It really he should have been getting more time if the Galaxy, were planning on him being the deputy to Cirio. But yeah, man, it like I mentioned, it came part of the Gaston Brugman deal, and as part of that deal, Nashville agreed to pay a portion of Davis's 2025 salary budget charge, and they were due an additional 100K in 2026 GAM if Davis had met certain performance metrics. The MLS Players Association website lets us know that he made 910K base and 1.24 million in guaranteed compensation. And because Josh is way smarter at these things than I am, I'm going to go ahead and read off this tweet. Shout out Podfather. He says the mechanics of this trade are, in case you guys are wondering why they would go ahead and make this trade and then just waive him a couple months later. You might be saying, like, why did we let go of Gaston? Well, The Podfather puts it very succinctly here. He says, the mechanics of this trade are this. Nashville was already paying a portion of Davis's salary. I imagine the Galaxy don't have to pay that amount. So they traded, and this is 2024 numbers, a $1.4 million contract in Brugman, in parentheses, could get $100K in conditional GAM in 2026, and parentheses, and then got Davis, who they bought out. Salary number of just over $1 million. Figuring that they would had to just buy out Brugman if he was still on the team, and factoring in that Nashville is paying for Davis's salary, the Galaxy could have just saved themselves cash for the buyout while opening Brugman's salary up. So he finishes with, let's figure Nashville is paying $250K of Davis's salary, then Galaxy saved the difference between Brugman's buyout and Davis's buyout, $650K plus possible $100K in GAM for Brugman performance in 2026. So this is a potential of $750K in savings for the Galaxy, and as we know, they are up against it, right? And like I mentioned, they might need these funds because they just made another signing. Matheus Nascimento is official now. They acquired the Brazilian forward on loan from Botafogo for the remainder of the 2025 season. He will occupy an international roster slot and is registered under the U22 initiative. They used their final U22 initiative signing spot for Nascimento, and excuse me, and they acquired his discovery rights from the Sounders in exchange for $50K in 2025 GAM. They also hold a purchase option on the 20-year-old. So Ananda, if this guy balls out, obviously they're going to go ahead and pick him up permanently. Will Kuntz had this to say: Mateus has been exposed to the highest level of professional competitions in South America since signing at 16, has been a consistent part of the national team for Brazil at every youth age group. He is an exciting prospect that will be able to continue his development in our environment, and we look forward to him integrating into our group for the start of the MLS season. Welcome to Los Angeles, Matheus Nascimento. One last note on him. According to Chris Tucker, a.k.a. Zero Cool, he's the 20th number 9 in Galaxy history. And, of course, the Prophet Alex Reese wrote a really good article about Nascimento and how the Galaxy could be using him. And our homies at NAG, keep on nagging, they had a midweek show with a Brazilian fan, Leo, and he told us all about Nascimento and what Galaxy fans should expect.
Yeah.
Ananda?
Getting that number 9 shirt already, Papa. That's big, right? That's big praise. I mean, he's taking over a guy that was a big part of our MLS Cup run last year. So, look, I would highly suggest, by the way, listening to that midweek pod that the NAG boys did, like really, really good. All I'm going to say is I think this was a excellently calculated move by Will Kuntz in the front office, Rob. I think he's coming into a great situation. You think about the infrastructure and the support that we're going to have him. You have Gabriel Peck, you have Juninho, he's going to be learning behind Christian Ramirez. This is a great situation for this kid that needs to play, and his ceiling's high, man. We can turn him into a $12 to $15 million player if he balls out, and I could see that happening. So this is a excellent move. I think, as I said before, low risk, high reward. So looking forward to this kid playing, man.
Well, chat, real quick question. Obviously, like Ananda said, he's a 20-year-old guy coming to a new country, adapting to a new league, but he has a lot of promise. So, I'd be happy with like 5 to 7 goals on the year for him. Chat, let me know what you think. Let me know if 5 to 7 is too unrealistic. If I'm putting too much pressure on the lad. Nanda, what do you think? 5 to 7 fair?
I think it just depends how much playing time he gets, man. If he starts getting more minutes, like who knows, right? So I can't really safely say. Look, if let's say
there's going to be games.
Let's put it this way: if Ramirez and Nascimento put up the same amount of league goals as Jovic, I'm happy, right?
Yeah, no,
throw in a couple goals from Miguel Berry on the side and call it a day.
Yeah, what Will Kuntz calls making it up in the aggregate, right? Because you can't make up Ricky Puig either, but they're trying to in the aggregate. Anyway, so a tournament that the Galaxy are waiting to find out who their opponent is. The CONCACAF Champions Cup. Quick roundup here we'll give you guys. In MLS's first game in the tournament, Colorado beat LAFC 2-1. In freezing weather then there in Denver, Georgi Mihailovic scored a brace, one off a free kick. Aaron Long gets a late goal to give LAFC life. And the return leg will be Tuesday, February 25th at 7 p.m. And in what should have been the first game, the rescheduled match, Inter Miami beat Sporting Kansas City 1-0 on the road. Leo Messi scored the game's only goal. It was a really nice class goal too, Ananda. I don't know if you saw it. But the return leg will be Tuesday, February 25th in Miami at 5 p.m. The Seattle Sounders beat Antigua Guatemala 3-1 on the road. Areola, Pedro de la Vega, and Albert Rusnak got the goals. The de la Vega was a banger. The return leg is Wednesday, February 26th in Seattle at 7:30. Cincinnati unveiled their new look lineup, and it looked flossy, and they went off beating FC Mantagua 4-1 on the road. Evander had a goal and an assist in his debut. Kevin Denke also had a goal in his debut, and Pavel Bucha scored a brace to lead the way. The return leg for that one is Wednesday, February 26th at 3:30 p.m. And the Galaxy's next potential opponents, RSL and Club Sport Herediano, tied at 0. The winner will face the Galaxy, like I mentioned, but we won't know who that is until the return leg on Wednesday, February 26th at 5:30 p.m. in Salt Lake City. Ananda, I'm going to let you handle these MLS Cup odds because, you always handle the odds, you and Don Raquinho.
Yeah, I mean, Don Raquinho in the lab. So yeah, guys, MLS just put out these odds. This is presented by DraftKings, and right now the Galaxy are third in the MLS Cup odds. So Inter Miami is number 1 at plus 370. LAFC, boo, are at plus 600, and LA Galaxy number 3 there at plus 850. Cincinnati right behind them, who are going to be a problem this year, Rob. They really are. They've got a fantastic team. If that team gels, watch out. They are going to be a problem. Power rankings, the Galaxy are number 2 behind Miami. So again, I think the if you want to call it favoritism, if you want to call it love, whatever you want to call it, however you want to dress it up, they are giving the love to Miami. And of course, our opponents this weekend, San Diego FC, they have them at a plus 6,500. So that's man, if you're a betting man, that's some pretty decent odds right there. And then of course, in the power rankings, the pundits aren't giving them too much love, Rob. 28th in the MLS power rankings. Would love to talk to Tony about if people are sleeping them or not, or they look like they have their rosters getting together. They just came off of a 6-0 hammering in the CVI, one that we caught the last 15 minutes of, right? So it's gonna be interesting, man, and it'll be fun to talk to Tony about what's going on.
What you mean is they put on a 6-0 hammering of
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We didn't get to see too much of that game, but we got to the CVI and we're like, damn, 6-0.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get to our to hear more about this team. Let's get to our special guest of the day. He's a color analyst and insider for the San Diego Sockers, a journalist covering San Diego FC and the San Diego Wave, and he is the co-founder of San Diego Football and host of Two Balls and a Mic. Please welcome to the show, Tony Sanchez.
How's it going, gentlemen? Thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing really well,
Welcome,
man.
Tony.
Thank you
Doing
so
well.
much. We appreciate you coming on, man. Really nice setup behind you, by the way. Me gusta mucho.
Oh, thank you, man. It's the Two Balls and a Mic studio. We've been doing this here for 5 years, Chiba and I, and it's my garage. And that's as fancy as that gets. There's that
There
side
you
of it. Yeah, no.
There's the
Right,
flip side.
right on.
Behind the
We make it work
scenes.
here. Behind the scenes. We make it
So,
work here.
yeah. You know what my favorite? Hold on, Rob. You know what my favorite is right there? It says Two Balls Way on the left. That cracks me up.
See
man.
it, Two Balls away. See it?
Yeah, I love it.
Down here, guys.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Shiva, and he was on the homies Nag show the other day. Also, talking about San Diego and stuff like that. So, we got the other side of the coin today. So, like I said, thank you for being here. But before we get into it, can you tell us how San Diego Football got started and where the folks can find you on socials?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything San Diego.futbol, San Diego.futbol. It's going to be the website. You can find the writings from our editor-in-chief, Abe Cepeda. We cover everything soccer in San Diego, from San Diego Wave, San Diego FC now, it's San Diego Sockers, and everything in between. We're trying to make a cool little hub here for San Diego on the road to the World Cup. Essentially, Chiba and I, we sat down and we reserved a fire pit in Mission Bay here in San Diego. We said, well, you know what? Let's just start talking starting 11s. Who's your best Mexico 11? And, we went back and forth like, hey, okay, this guy knows ball. And, we just started talking and like, hey, let's start a podcast. And let's not be guys around phone podcast. Let's do it right, canijo. And, then San Diego Loyal started right around the same time. And we said, you know what? we're San Diego. We're two balls in a mic. Let's go ahead and do this and submit it for credentials. And we've been doing coverage. And honestly, here in San Diego, it's an emerging thing, soccer in general. As much as the talent's always been here, fútbol aquí siempre ha nacido, ha estado, Tijuana's right there. Like it's just it's always been here, but now it's getting the spotlight and in a lot of different ways. And you know what? We said I would love to watch a World Cup for free, and we've been credentialed now through USL, MLS, Open Cup, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL. Like it's the adventure of a lifetime, man. And Chiba and I, we've been doing this for 5 years. We're on episode 265. We've done 265 weeks in a row without skipping a week. So I mean, there you go. It's literally the adventure of a lifetime, man. It's fun. It's still fun. And him and I work at the YMCA, so that's our real job. I see him 8 hours a day, and then I choose to do this for however more hours a day. It's pretty insane, but we'll make it to the World Cup.
Ananda would have killed me by now if he had to work with me 8 hours a day, and then we had to do the pod. This would have ended my life already. But man, you're right. It's kind of incredible, like what the emerging scene is there in San Diego. The team was officially presented just a few days ago. I saw photos and video. Everybody looked like they were having a spectacular time. On a scale of 1 to wilding out, how amped are those fans? I mean, do you have any like personal anecdotes of things that you've seen ahead of this first match?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything in a lot of ways because, like I said, soccer and football has always been here in San Diego. And it's always listed as, wow, look at the World Cup ratings. San Diego watches the most out of everybody. And it's always been a market that, it will rank high on viewership whenever Selección came to Qualcomm Stadium. And the Selección used to love playing in San Diego, and the San Diegans and Tijuanenses loved having to be able to watch Selección here. We watched Messi absolutely destroy Osvaldo Sanchez, but you know what? Nobody cared that day, and it was one of these things where here in San Diego we've known this. And look, the supporter groups are coming together. Everybody who's involved is as amped and are there for the absolute right reason to rep and be about San Diego and really just hold that high. And at the end of the day, it's just a matter of now there's a team. Now MLS is in San Diego. Now there's a team in that flight to look for. They made their job a little harder than it needed to by not, being a little friendlier in some ways and not. And it's just the MLS machine, and it's on its way. And guess what? We're hours away from having soccer in MLS here in San Diego, and that's insane on its own.
Yeah, you've been there for the emergence of it all. I mean, you've been covering San Diego FC since its announcement. It's el nacimiento era todavía nomás un sueño en el aire, right? And you guys were already on the ground covering this. So how have you seen that anticipation build? What's different from, announcement day to presentation day the other day?
Yeah, so we were, again, like you mentioned, we were right there. We actually hosted one of their first listening sessions here in Carlsbad. And from then on, like there was always this sense of like, okay, well, good, we're here. What's next? And okay, we signed Duran Ferry, who is a goalkeeper, and he's barely 18. And okay, and there's a lot of waiting and a lot of anticipation. And at the end of the day, San Diego, if there's one thing, it just doesn't like to be LA light. And so in a lot of different ways with the construction of, obviously CEO Tom Penn, bringing in a Mexican DP and Chucky Lozano, like it's very familiar, down to having the team play in Snapdragon Stadium, who the architect is the same architect of LAFC and Austin. So, I mean, there's just these little parallels that are just like, oh, okay, you're trying not to be LAFC, you're trying to be your own thing, but you kind of don't land anywhere if you're not really seeing what you yourself is. But at the end of the day, Sabes game, like I said, the people are going to be there who are going to be hyped. It might take a little bit to win over the city where, there's a lot of things to do. And I know LA also faces that. That's why you guys had to kick your team down to Carson. There's too much to do in the city. So you're like, hey, I want to play abajo poquito.
So we do have a question in chat from Matthew Arce. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like on Sunday? And I kind of had a similar question, right? We saw a lot of San Diego FC fans pull up to the CVI as well. They were out there, full force flags and everything like that. What kind of traveling support do you anticipate is going to be at the Digz on Sunday?
From what I understand, the supporters union was able to get 800 allocated tickets, and they sold all of them. That's what's going. And even from beyond that, I know that there's a lot of interest from across the league and across everywhere, essentially, who just want to go see Chucky Lozano. And by default, you just have a sense to go support San Diego in a lot of ways. And it's going to be an interesting scenario because the Galaxy, you know what? You're facing against the supposed rivals of the future, just in name, because LA, San Diego, but they're also the champions. And so it's as tough as a task as you could potentially ask of a team, especially located in San Diego. So anything that's a decent showing is going to light everybody up even more. And I think that's what it needs. Right now, there's a lot of gunpowder in the keg, but it just needs to light correctly. And yeah, you can get a little spark here and there, but there's going to be a moment for San Diego where it's going to be a watershed moment, and everybody's going to be like, okay. And that's whether or not this actually works down here. The chemistry, the play style, Chucky, Right to Dream, Mikey Varas, everything that's kind of been spoken about in theory about this team. We'll see it in action. If it works, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, like you said, just hours away now. You guys are going to be walking out onto the field sporting that black kit behind you guys. And along those lines, Ananda.
Yeah, well, that I was going to say, we've been talking about just the anticipation, the excitement, but it hasn't come without criticism, right, Tony? And I'm just going to flash this up now, and this is going to be, I'll just let you take the stage in terms of your thoughts on just, I guess the sort of the inception, the launch. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of criticism behind this kit, and even just sort of the meaning, the story behind it. I mean, you cover the team, you have, I'm sure a good relationship with the folks that run the team and sort of the team that sparked this idea behind it, right? So just your overall thoughts and I'm just gonna leave the floor to that, because I know as a neutral, it's kind of like, what? Like, we're just kind of scratching our heads here, at least in LA.
Well, it is what it is, and it is what it is, and you don't throw a fit. That's what we tell the kids at work. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it's what you have, and that's what you're going to go ahead and have to defend, whether you like it or not. The word says San Diego in whatever font, in whatever color or not color. Chrome is not a color. It is a shade. It is a sort of, if you go to Los Angeles Customs and GTA, you can get chrome. It's not a color. Like, again,
it's a finish, right? It's a finish.
Yeah, exactly. We're already starting on a complicated foot. To have 3 paragraphs to explain why your color is this, chrome and azul, why your crest is a certain way, woven into one. Like, I get it. Like, it's not like I'm like, wow, where did they get that? But it's like, yeah, okay, well, okay, that's what it is. Let's move forward. I think that's a lot of the feelings in San Diego. It's like, well, at least they're here, and that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. And some talk is also like an early to draw a baseball parallel, like a early 2000s Padres, where they had this same type of blue, and then now there's a reinvention into the brown and gold, and everybody's in love with it. Yay! But at the end of the day, like, it's a kit, like it's a kit, and it's safe. That's as
very true
as you can get. And if I had to give it a number, I'd say like it's just 7-1. Like, it's just a C. Like, okay, you have to wear a kit. That's the minimum. You can't go and trot shirtless. Like, it's not part of the rules and regulations. The away kit, just don't call it a community kit, because then you're calling your wording is a blank canvas, because that represents the community. Yikes. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I agree with Matthew here, and in that people are hating on. He says people are hating on it, but they know that they're still going to get it, and that's the thing, right? People that are fans of the team, like you said, whether they're
they're going to love it because of the crest.
They're going to love it because of the crest, and they're going to buy it because of the crest. And if you win in this kit, it's going to mean it's going to look a hell of a lot nicer as well. So that's all I'll say to that as well.
Well, speaking of winning and getting those W's, right? San Diego's not really getting a lot of love, either in the odds or power rankings. As someone that's really close to the team, covered them really closely. What are your thoughts? Are pundits, right in this? Are they being a little bit too harsh? Are they sleeping on San Diego?
I think right now they are being as fair as they can be with what is known about this team, right? It's all an ambitious effort. It's one of the biggest ambitious efforts in soccer in the US, right? They're literally trying to revolutionize the way soccer's played, because if you can go ahead and have a Right to Dream Academy that feeds you, you're the base, and you can just sprinkle in some DPs here and there, and you save yourself some money, you sell off some players to Europe, and you have this whole mix in it, it's going to revolutionize the way soccer's played here, because everybody's going to want to have their own cantera, their own
Right.
academy, much like Philadelphia, and their success with that. But at the same time, that's a stubborn way of seeing things in a lot of different ways, because they're going to say, okay, well, that was a good loss, but the performance was good. Okay, well, they did get the win. Could you have won or tied if you abandoned the play style and the philosophy? Yeah, but at least it looked nice because we'll get them next time. Okay, there's a lot of that. However, there is a chance that because there is good talent and good players that are X factors on this team on every third of this squad, there's a reason to believe that they might be good and contend for playoffs. And that's, I think, this is the wild card. If it works, it's gonna work. What Chiba, my co-host, always says, like, it's either gonna be the laughing stock of the league, or it's gonna shut a lot of mouths up, and it's gonna be very impressive what Tyler Heaps and company have been able to do here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but San Diego still has an open DP spot.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And shout out to the Right to Dream Academy. I've big upped it on this pod before. I think really it should be a model that every MLS team adopts. The Galaxy do a really good job with their academy. What they don't have is I believe the Right to Dream Academy is actually people are these students, these players are actually like living there on campus, right? So, and that's the traditional style that you see in South America. I mean, that's, my cousin that played for Emelec, he was in the cantera as well. And that's what happens, right? They pick, poor kids off of the street of Guayaquil, and we're like, hey, we're going to, clothe you, feed you, educate you, and you're going to play some soccer. And that's what's happening here in San Diego. They're giving these kids an opportunity to not only educate themselves, and get instruction in football, but kind of just like grow up in positive environments. So shout out, that you're really right, man. It's a novel idea. I love it. And it is going to revolutionize, hopefully, the way MLS goes ahead and develops players.
And then one more thing with Right to Dream, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
San Diego FC is the only team in MLS that is allowed to scout in Mexico. Because of FIFA rules, the Right to Dream Academy has headquarters is located in Little Italy downtown. They can scout into Tijuana. So that just means that not only can they scout here in San Diego, they can have a lot of the talent start coming up from the entirety of Mexico to Tijuana, and have that be a point where talent just gets cropped from there. Because let me tell you, as somebody who crossed every day from Tijuana to come to school here, if you were to tell anybody in that position, like, hey, you can play soccer, you kids this good, but it's also going to be an opportunity for an education, and you can bring your family over with papers, or you can play for Guadalajara as cantera and maybe make it over there. Like, there's just, so many more factors with that Right to Dream Academy.
A life difference. Really cool. It's some kind of like a figment of a dream versus like, no, even if you don't make it in soccer, we're going to help your family out. You're going to get an education, and you're going to have a future plan. No, I mean, that's a big come up. You're getting, two talent pools right there, which is frankly kind of jealous of, because the Galaxy has to compete with LAFC in the Los Angeles territory. So yeah, that is a big come up. But last question here before we get to game time, or this game preview. There was a lot of rumors that Manchester City star Kevin De Bruyne was flirting with San Diego. It did not end up happening. It hasn't happened yet, perhaps. Why do you think it didn't happen, and where was the breakdown? Was there ever anything there?
Yes, there was something there, 100%. And it's one of these tongue-in-cheek things that, we come to realize that happen a lot in just sports in general, where a sent of a WhatsApp is considered in talks, because that's technically true. Like, there were talks between Kevin De Bruyne and San Diego FC about coming over. At the end of the day, Kevin De Bruyne was asking a little bit too much. He saw what Messi was asking and eventually got, and was like, well, I think I fancy myself in that echelon, so I require this much. And And then that's something that San Diego FC was just like, well, no, I think we're okay for right now. Whether this can happen in the future, the slot is there. There's definitely the funds with Mr. Mansour for this to actually materialize. But again, at the end of the day, is it something that's going to be worth it in order to go ahead and be competitive in the first year? If you can go ahead and have this academy base and Dreyer, De La Torre, and Chucky be able to carry this team into that without having to spend it right now, I think that's absolutely fine. And then we can say that for later. If you want, you can just kind of look at what Sergio Ramos asked of Monterrey and kind of have an idea of the things that were being asked by Kevin De Bruyne and company.
Yeah, I thought this one was going to happen, quite honestly. But you know, if you're asking me, and Ananda knows, I'm not the hugest Messi fan, but I don't believe Kevin De Bruyne is quite that level of Messi. He is a damn fine player, though. I will give him that. But yeah, no. If you had to guess, or if you had your way and you were San Diego general manager, really quick, you know, what would you be looking for in that third DP spot?
Well, if I was their general manager, I'd be happily married to Lindsay Horan, apparently, right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I think that spot is going to be just the missing piece in assessing in the first 2 months of what is really needed. Because I'll tell you right now, the defense is going to be something that this team is going to struggle with, especially with that play style of counterattacking, where you really leave yourself open in a lot of different ways. And guess what? Ananda Reyes is going to come in with a red card worthy tackle at any given point. He'll save a goal, but you go down in the 20th minute with the red card because he tried to stop a counterattack. So, I mean, right now, ideally, there's a lot of just hype and just like, it'd be interesting if Mo Salah eventually like trotted his way down here. Just there's too many connections there. But I think at this point, that's just reaching for the stars. I think right now, SDFC is going to circle the wagons.
Reach big, brother.
Exactly. SDFC is going to just circle the wagons with what they got right now, and then look at what's going to make them successful in MLS. And I think that's a lot of realization with squad building, where you're not trying to win the Champions League. You're not trying to win, this Club World Cup. No, you're trying to be competitive in MLS. So you have to know what the parameters are of MLS and be able to be successful within, and something that clearly LA Galaxy and LAFC have been very successful with. So they're trying to just do it their own way and not be, little brother for once.
Well, we do have a match to talk about, and you were talking about this team being competitive. So Sunday's match, of course, marks the first ever meeting between these two teams, the champion and the debutante. If I had to write a song, that's what I would call it. In 42 matches played against MLS clubs in their expansion years dating back to 1998, the Galaxy hold a 24-10-8 record. They will play once more this year when the Galaxy travel to face San Diego FC at Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday, May 24th at 1:30 p.m. when the sun should be baking everybody. It's going to be a great time. In 29, yeah. Oh, muy sudados. Ton rojitos, right? In 29 all-time MLS regular season home openers at home, the Galaxy hold a 17-8-4 record. And, of course, in 21 matches played across all competitions in 2024, they held an unbeaten record at home, 17-0-4, and they won 15 consecutive matches at home. So hopefully the Galaxy can keep it going here against the debutantes. Let's talk about San Diego's form really quick. We got to see them play some games in the CVI. Of course, they lost their first game to NYC FC 3-1. Paddy McNair, former Manchester United defender, heads in the first goal off an in-swinging cross from Chucky. Emotions when you saw that first goal, man.
Yeah, I mean, that first goal was certainly like a very sweet moment to see the supporter groups just kind of make their way up there, see their club in action in public for the first time, and really, like, it's preseason for everybody. It's a creation of something. So, you had the supporters in the back just getting used to also baking in the sun in Coachella Valley, just getting themselves prepared. And to have that moment early on was really special, especially knowing that, okay, well, scoring is possible. Cool. Not that they would do it anymore for the rest of that game and the next game, but you know what? It was nice to see, just to see that, and especially knowing that it was the last phase of conditioning for this squad. I spoke with Mikey Varas right before that match against New York FC, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I just worked them in a double training yesterday, Friday. We traveled in the morning, and now they're going to play." So he was just redlining the players, just seeing everybody and how much fitness they can have, and really then start molding towards preparing for February 23rd here.
Well, you did mention that there wasn't a lot of goals for the rest of that game or the next game where they lost to Portland 3-0, but then they went off in their last match against New York Red Bull. They hung 6 on New York. Dreyer scored 2. El Chucky scored 1. Luca De La Torre scored 1. Marcus Ingvartsen scored 1, and former G Emma Boateng capped it off with a penal. We didn't get to see that much of that match. We were on our way there, but after watching all 3 of these matches, Ananda, who really really likes this idea of identity and like playing identities for teams, right? He posed this query to me about what do you think this team's identity is, and since we haven't seen them a lot, I'm going to pose that one to you. We talk a lot about identity on this pod, but it's early days. You've only seen this team 3 times. How would you characterize the team's identity under head coach Mikey Varas? Is it defensive, offensive? Are you going to keep the ball, counterattack? Are you guys going to try to have possession? What do you think?
Yeah, the possession factor is going to be incredibly important for this team, especially the way that they want to go ahead and really play a total football 2.0 style of soccer. Just kind of getting everybody involved, everybody's in motion at all times, in order to go ahead and make the most economic moves and to make it all the way over to the other side and be able to score rather quickly. And so that's a fast and furious pace that you need to make sure that you are doing quick passes, and that allows then for mistakes, and those early mistakes with chemistry, early mistakes with really applying again this right to dream mentality. There's a specific style and a specific chord that they want to go ahead and hit, and that's why you have captain, probably more than likely captain number 6 Jeppe Sverskov, who is from FC Nordsjælland, which is pretty the other right to dream team over in the Danish league, along with Marcus Ingvartsen. So that spine right down the middle has that way of thinking. And so at the end of the day, you still have these 2 X factors on the wings with Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyers, who, it's 0-0. It's 88 minutes of trying. Here, Chucky, figure it out. And he'll figure it out for you. Here, Anders, just go. Like, it doesn't matter. Just figure it out. And they can go ahead and do that. On the other side of things, though, if you play this fast and furious type of style, you're going to leave the back end and really exposed in a lot of different ways. CJ Dos Santos, the goalkeeper, who really hasn't had goalkeeper 1 experience in MLS, is good with his feet, and that's exactly why he's preferred, because they're going to go ahead and want to play out the back. They want to invite the pressure all the way into the small box, it seems, and as frustrating as that may be, they're going to keep being stubborn with this. And so that's what I asked Mikey Varas, hey, are you willing to go ahead and just get rid of the book for a result? And it was a non-answer of like, well, everything we do is going to be part of this right to dream style, so you live by it, you die by it. Okay, great. Well, we'll see what that means.
Well, in your opinion, do you have the pieces to actually play that style?
Insofar, yes. Is the chemistry there right now? No. Just looking at different pieces and aspects where Luca de la Torre does get a lot of freedom within the space to go up and create, or also be the target, because Marcus Ingvartsen himself is also a player that can play as a center attacking or a center forward, a false 9 sense, that he can also create. He's not necessarily the biggest goal scorer, but he can set up Chucky or somebody else coming out the midfield, Luca de la Torre in this case, to do those types of things. And at the end of the day, these players are familiar with this style, even going back to Chris McVeigh down in the center back position, who he himself was actually describing knowing this style of play, the right to dream, even though he is of Swedish descent, because he's like, oh yeah, that's the Scandinavian style of play. There's a Scandinavian sort of rhythm that these things go. And so just having that knowledge of, okay, this is what's probably coming this way. I can also be a leader and tell those next to me, hey, we need to be in this position. I don't know how, I know you can get there, but I'm gonna be here and I'll try to clean it up for you. But again, that is also a very dangerous way of style. And you're gonna have exactly what you have in the CVI. You're gonna have games that, you know, you have a water type going up against the rock type, and the water type's gonna win every time in Pokemon, man. And like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just gonna beat them every time. Rock beats paper, whatever beats whatever.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. But it's gonna definitely be frustrating. There's gonna be days where, yeah, you're gonna have 3-0s, 4-0s losses, and you're gonna just have to eat that one.
Well, you live by the sword and you die by the sword. Like you mentioned, it doesn't sound like Mikey Varas is going to go pragmatic. He's going to stick to that philosophy, right? But in terms of the Galaxy, Galaxy fans know already that Ricky Puig is out, so that's the big miss. But the other big miss is Joseph Paintso. Studio and chats, it sounds like Paintso would have enjoyed playing against this team. I agree, especially from what you say about them defensively, you know, just playing that high line. But we will find out for you guys if anybody else is going to be missing for the Galaxy. We do have media availability tomorrow with Greg, and I believe Christian Rios is going to be there, Diego Fagundes is going to be there, and Maya, I believe, as well. So we'll go ahead and find out a little bit more for you. But Tony, does San Diego have any significant injuries to worry about?
As of now, I guess, you know, Negri has had a couple of knocks in there over this Coachella Valley Invitational, but he should be good to go. Andres Reyes is one that didn't, I mean, I saw the guy, he exists. I saw him, but hasn't gotten any play time during preseason in public, at least. So right now, I think the squad is as fit as it's going to get going into the tournament and into the league. But at this moment, it's all green. So thankfully for San Diego FC, it'll stay that way, especially with 25 players officially on the roster. So, you know, there's still room for some depth in there. The good thing and bad thing is that you have a lot of players that can play different positions well, but that just means that you don't have players that play that position great. So, give me your take.
Well, Ananda, give us your thoughts on what you might see out of an LA Galaxy starting lineup this weekend.
Yeah, we talked about it in the last match reaction for the last CVI game. I think this, and Tony, we'll hand it over to you as well in terms of if you think the starting lineup is going to be similar on your end against the Red Bull. But I think, like I said, I think this is going to be our starting lineup, Rob. I think, you know, the quote unquote goalkeeper battle, but then, you know, the more I've been thinking about it, man, throughout the week, I feel like Mitrovic, it's Mitrovic. Like I feel like Greg's not playing any games this year. I feel like, you know, he is sent many signals. I guess I would be shocked. I think I would be surprised if McCarthy were to start, but he's done it to us before. So, but I think all the signs are pointing towards Mitrovic, and the midfield, man, which I think that's going to be a very, very interesting part. That's going to be something I'm going to key in on, especially in the first 20 minutes of the game. We basically have a new midfield, Papa. Cerrillo is the only starter that we had from that MLS Cup final, and the other two guys are young and unproven, right? So I think that's one to watch. Well, one for sure is Marco Royce. That's a guy that hasn't gotten playing time. You know, he's a bit part player last year, whether it's through injuries or fatigue or whatnot. But, you know, Sanabria, he's going to have a big job to do in that midfield, especially to handle the transition against those two fast wingers. But no, I think this is our starting lineup. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how we start the game for sure, especially with the crowd, you know, championship ring day, etc. It's going to be really interesting to see how we start that game. And I think the first 10 minutes, as I always say, the first 10 minutes is going to tell me a lot about the intent of both teams actually in this game.
Tony, what do you think? Are you seeing the starting a lineup, or do you see something a little bit differently maybe going into Sunday?
No. So this is on paper right now, unless something dramatic happens. The lineup that will most likely be fielded. The only potential change would be Willie Camado, but he hasn't really come and had a lot of trainings with the team. on the right back position, so it'll probably be Lofelsend on there. But yeah, this should be the lineup ready to go. You see that experience and mix of MLS and Right to Dream right in the middle with Six Sverskov and Anibal Godoy, where you have the experience from an MLS veteran, but also this philosophy that you want to play with, and then that X factor of Luca de la Torre, who can pretty much do it all, and really that's the genius of him and players like him who have the ability to go and be able to get playtime and be scouted in Europe, is that they are pretty good at learning. They're coachable. And that's what Luca is definitely going to be there. And then just looking up in the front, just that Dreyer and Lozano lineup is something that if it works, it's going to be something that's absolutely lethal, and teams will have a very hard time defending both sides. But it's really going to depend on who is going to be receiving that, and whether Marcos Invarson is honestly MLS ready in this case, because let me tell you, behind him is 16-year-old Anis Saidi. So that's, there's a lot of a mix of doing that. But then Tomas Angel can also slot in there with a quick 1-2 punch of speed and just again experience in MLS style of play. And then esa defensa. All right, we'll see. We'll see if it works.
And you said Andre Reyes is probably not going to play.
Yeah, probably not. And again, this is just literally based on the amount of play time that he got. And in asking Mikey Varas, I'm like, hey, where is he? Well, there's some sort of knee issue. But again, it seemed like a phantom injury where it's like, but I just saw him. Like it's. Is that even to the
we just saw him running the mile right now. It was crazy.
Wait, Rob, we just saw him warm up for the MLS Cup final. What happened? We get to dodge him twice, right? Like,
right? No, but that for me is like a big miss, because I do rate him as a defender, but obviously San Diego does have the danger men, the big names that you've already mentioned, Luca de la Torre, Dreyer, and El Chucky. Besides these cats right here, who is the guy that needs to step up in this match for this team to have success?
I do think that it's going to be the midfield, the game changer of Oni Valakari. And Valakari is a tall 6'2" midfielder. Just to kind of like what wild games Tyler Heaps is playing, general manager for San Diego FC. Like, he was scouting a guy in the country of Cyprus. Not the hill, the country. Like, he just plucked them out of that league and was like, all right, you're coming over here. And he actually scored a beautiful goal leading into the Euros for Finland in his debut. Like, it's a quality player. His father used to play here in the States as well. But that's a player who looks very interesting, and it's a change of pace. And I think that's going to be the key for San Diego FC, is if their game changers can come in and really make an impact when they get subbed on. And also Alex Mighton, a pacey winger. He came over from Nottingham Forest. And again, it's just a bowling ball on the side. But I think once you see Emmanuel Boateng also put in the calma, that experience, but
once a G.
If you get your eyes off of him, you guys know more than anybody.
Yep.
He can hurt you. He can definitely hurt you. But it's going to be just a matter of where the metronome is for this team. If this team's metronome is on pace, they're going to be dangerous. If something is a little off, then it's going to be very off, and it's just going to throw the entire team in shambles. And for a team to play against Galaxy, who in the biggest game last season, a couple of months ago, they put a team on their heels, and the other team was not able to come back. They just weren't. And if the atmosphere is like that, all right.
Well, the atmosphere is gonna be big, because not only is it the home opener, but they're receiving rings. There's the ring ceremony. There's all that.
Stadium just got renovated.
Yeah, stadium just got renovated. So it's gonna be a rocking good time for sure. Sidebar, you coming down?
Yeah, I'll be there in the press box. I'll make my way there early. I like being early to all the things, as early as I can be, and just really take it in. It's a special day for soccer in San Diego, and in MLS fashion, why not have two big events? And hey, we got the first ever SDFC game in LA, and then we got the first ever home game.
Home game.
Your
Yeah.
Snapdragon. All the money. But it is what it is. It's fine. It's gonna be fun. Just to kind of, and it's been fun, man. Just in the MLS verse, it's been really cool getting to know everybody and how welcoming everybody's been and just how rad everybody is and kind of here for the right reasons for the game. And I really appreciate that.
Well, I'll definitely make sure to seek you out in the press box, and we can take a photo, and that way people can go like, nah, you guys didn't link up. Yes, we did. Here's proof, right? Final question. Yeah.
Well, you've been asking all the questions today. I'm going to ask you one. So we're talking about Dangerman, and I'll ask you the same as well, Tony. But Rob, who is the guy? Who is the Dangerman for LA? We're missing a lot of big pieces, right? We're missing a couple of our key pieces. We're missing our glue guys that got unfortunately traded away for Gam, right? The best signing in MLS, Gam. Who does that player need to be, Rob, for the Galaxy?
Well, I honestly think it's Mickey Yamane, because when you lost Ricky Puig, you lost a lot of that ball progression out of the back, and we've already seen Mickey Yamane and what he was able to do in the CVI and advance the ball. And not only that, but he should have gotten a goal in that last game when he hit the woodwork. It would have been a class goal. He hit the woodwork in the MLS Cup. So I think he is going to take that step up this year and add goals to his game and be a facilitator. And we've already seen that the Galaxy can go ahead and play three in the back when he goes ahead and gets into the midfield. And so, yeah, I think that Mickey Yamane is going to be that player that this Equilibria kind of throws San Diego off their heels, because they're not going to know what to do with that extra body that's coming at them in midfield. And if they can get the ball past midfield successfully, like Tony said, that defense is going to have trouble with that, because the Galaxy are already going to be breathing down their neck with the advanced position that they have. And if they're playing a high line, man, Joseph would have had a time in this match. But yeah, for me, it was Mickey Yamane. For you?
Well, I was going to ask Tony, actually, from a San Diego fan's perspective, or for San Diego point of view, who's the guy that you're just like, if this guy goes off, we have no chance.
Look, I'll be completely honest here. Anybody who is ready to really just step up, and I know you mentioned Yamane right now, and just anybody who's really gonna put any sort of atmosphere into that room, into that stadium, is gonna light it up for LA Galaxy. It's gonna be a really crucial moment and a pressure test for this team, for San Diego to really come back, because they're gonna be on the back foot, regardless of who is that person. Look, I think at the end of the day, your guess is as good as mine. I'm getting welcomed into this, and I'm really learning everybody who's coming in, and that's just me being absolutely honest here. And I'll go with you. I'll just nod nicely here. Yeah, no, you guys are right. Absolutely. No, 100%. Who's going to destroy San Diego? Yep, absolutely.
Well,
because
the obvious is Gabby Peck, right? But I really do think that Yamane is going to be that guy that kind of just, like, they're not going to know what to do with him, right? So but we have two big questions here that are going to kind of wrap this up here for our game preview, and the first, and we're going to ask chat this one as well. You guys know what it is. We always ask you during this game preview, so for the Galaxy / San Diego to win this match, they have to ... fill in the blank. So chat, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... If you're in the chat and you're a San Diego fan, welcome. For San Diego to win this match, they have to ... Go ahead and let us know. Tony, we're going to kick it to you. For San Diego to win this match, they have to
keep their cool and composure. And that's really just, if you're going to live by this line of a straight and steady hand and just go and trust the process and trust that play style, you have to be confident. So they have to be cool, calm, and collected through this in order to go ahead and have a chance to really do something special, right? Like, what a bigger mark than to win your first ever game against the reigning defending champions. And, like, I mean, look, the promos write themselves. If this was a WWE match, like, this would be main card WrestleMania night 2. Like, we're having a great time. And at the end of the day, it's going to be impressive to see if they can actually pull it off, because again, they're ambitious and they really think that they have everything's perfect for San Diego FC. They've done everything correctly. They've got the right players in place. They're exactly where they need to be. They're marching at their own beat. And if they do, then that's going to be something remarkable to really just pay attention to, and hopefully it gains the respect of teams established like LA Galaxy and LAFC. I don't know about San Jose. Well, I think we all agree here. How to feel about NorCal?
No lies detected. Honestly, Ananda, what about for you? For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to.
Oh man, I'm just gonna keep this one simple, man. They need to feed the beast. They need to feed Gabriel Peck. I feel like we didn't see enough of that in the CVI. He's always going to be our difference maker, and in lieu of missing Joseph Paintsil, missing Ricky Puig, who you just said is the engine of that midfield, he's the one that has typically been our ball progressor, right? So the midfield, as Scott well pointed out in the chat as well, has to do a very good job of connecting with our forward line, but it's giving it to Gabriel Peck. We know the magic that he can produce. We know that he is a guy that can beat any defender one-on-one. And I think we just got to get him in the right places. I think it's going to be interesting what San Diego does defensively against them. We've seen teams try to double up, either send back one of their wingers or send a defensive midfielder back so that they don't get isolated. Because once you have Gabriel Peck isolated on that island, 1v1 against the defender, it's almost lights out, right? So he can kind of get whatever chance creation or whatever shot he wants off. So I think for the Galaxy, it's important to feed him as much as possible. And then, and I think everything just goes from there. But I think that's the one big thing, man, because I'm surprised that I'm saying this because I thought I would see this more in CVI, but I didn't. And so I think how we do that and how we get him that ball, get him into those attacking positions, I think that's going to be interesting. And I think it's also going to be interesting, too, how his teammates, Christian Ramirez and Lucas Sanabria on that right-hand side in particular, how they react to that and sort of, make the right runs, create some separation for him, have the right spatial awareness, etc. So it's going to be a big test, man. But I think Gabriel Peck is the difference maker like he always is. And, I think he is on the charge. Hopefully, if he stays on the team this year for the whole season, he's on that charge for that MVP race for sure.
And there is no guarantee that's happening. But if he does stay, I think he'll be in that conversation. I'm going to kind of take a similar route to Tony. And for me, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to play the game and not the occasion. It's going to be a very emotional day full of like we mentioned, getting rings, playing in front of your home crowd who's celebrating a championship. But you still have to go out there and take care of business. You can't get swept up in that occasion, right? You can't go, okay, well, all this fanfare and get distracted. You can't let Paintsil not being there, Ricky Puig not being there be a distraction or an excuse. You have the pieces, you have the team. Go out there and, like many times last year that they came out and gave this type of performance. You have to go out there and be professional. So for me, play the match, not the occasion. Ananda, we saw some betting odds already at the start of odds for San Diego across the year, but go ahead and give us some betting odds for this match in particular, brought to you by Ananda and Dr. Raquinho.
Yeah, so guys, these are the latest that I pulled this morning, and yeah, it's a pretty lopsided view here. So I don't think, not surprisingly, by the way, again, there's just a lot of unknowns, especially from the San Diego side, but LA Galaxy minus 220 per FanDuel, that's 70.3% win probability. San Diego has a 13.4% chance, guys, is at a plus 550. So I'm not your financial advisor, but just take those odds and do with them what you will. And honestly, the draw is not bad either at a plus 400. Well, I'm going to go to my predictions a little bit later, but yeah, that's not out of the realm of possibility for sure.
So you wouldn't advise putting any money on the Galaxy on this one because they're not really going to win a lot of cash.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we've come to the big question at the end of the day, and it is what it is. Prediction time. So now next time we meet up in Mayo when the Galaxy goes down to San Diego, we're going to go ahead and bring back this prediction, this receipt, and we're going to go ahead and shoot it back at you. But it is prediction time. So, Tony, does LA or San Diego win this match? And if you want, you can go ahead and give us a scoreline prediction.
It's going to be very difficult for me to say anything outside of a LA Galaxy win. And honestly, I could see it, and I'm not necessarily like score predictions because again, we might see the greatest MLS performance of all time by San Diego FC and not even be ready for it, right? But I do think that if they have a hard fought 1-1 match and late in the 75th minute, it just breaks down and Galaxy comes in 2-1 and just banging another one, it'll end the 3-1. Either way, I can see this being a LA Galaxy win through and through. But I mean, I think everybody would be happily surprised if anything outside of a Galaxy win was to happen, even a tie. And if you're San Diego, you are taking that tie and you are hugging it.
Yeah, you went toe-to-toe with the champions and you got a point in your first match. Not a bad way to end the day. Ananda, what do you think? Prediction time, your first one of the year. And I went first last time, so it's you.
I mean, you didn't, because there's no way you could have the memory of what happened 2.5 months ago. There's no way.
Okay.
So I'm calling you out on that one. But no, I think this one, my heart tells me it's going to be probably a routine 2-0 or maybe even 2-1 victory. I just think quality wise, I think there's just too much of a gap. And I think we've talked about this theme a lot, Rob, but I think there's something to be said about this, which is this idea of continuity, right? And I've heard a lot of, I heard Tom Bogert say this the other day. I heard even probably Josh say it the other day as well. And this idea of, if you're an investor, if you're like, invest in stocks and stuff, this idea of volatility, right? The Galaxy are starting off in a place of strength, right? And yes, we've lost a lot of pieces. Yes, we lost a couple of the glue guys, but I mean, even all of the analysts are saying, we're anywhere between a 2nd place to a 6th place team, right? Our floor is really high versus San Diego. You do not know what you're going to get with them. Other than, I mean, obviously they're a new team, but you just don't know. They could be 2nd in the West or they could be completely out of the playoffs. You just have no idea, right? Volatility is huge. And so I see that the same for this game. And because of the fact that the Galaxy are starting in a position of strength, I don't think it takes a lot for us to get over the hump in games like this. I'm going to say all that, though, in saying this, which is if the Galaxy don't score in the first half or even the first 65 minutes of the game, I'm going to be a little nervous, Rob. And that's where I might get tripped up, right? And we've seen this in the CVI where, and I've said this, I've called this out a little bit, which is,
yes, you have.
Surprisingly, offensively, we're not at the races. I don't expect us to be full bore, but we just don't have those different makers like we did last year, Joseph Paintsill, Ricky Puig, etc. So that's why I said the draw isn't out of the realm of possibility. If this is a 0-0 game, guys, in the 75th minute, watch out. That's going to be a nervy stadium, and it'll be really interesting. But as long as the Galaxy get an early goal, get their foot holding the game, I think this should be a routine 2-0.
I'm going 3-1 as well. Galaxy win. I think in just like Ken Schiller says, no shade at all. I just think the experience and the quality will tell. I think that Greg's team is you said not at the races. I just don't think they're finishing their chances, at least in the CVI, but they are creating the chances. So yeah, I think that quality will tell. I think 3-1. I think Gabby gets 1, Christian gets 1. I'll leave you to decide who gets the third, but yeah, I really do think it's going to be a Galaxy win. 3 points is 3 points, even if it's a 1-0. So even if I'm wrong on the 3-1, I do not care. Hopefully it's just a Galaxy win. But yeah, we want to say thank you guys. Chat, please give it up for our special guest today, Tony Sanchez. Definitely, brother, we're gonna hook up at the press box and kind of take that photo and make sure to exchange ideas and see anything that you might have heard in the late stages before we go ahead and hit the field there. But yeah, right before we go, can you go ahead and tell the folks in chat one more time, the folks listening, where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can find everything we do on San Diego.Futbol. That is the website. That is the name of the social, San Diego.Futbol. That is where Two Balls and a Mic is every Monday at 8 p.m. We also have Soccer's Overtime on that same umbrella, which is MASL Indoor Soccer.
Cool.
gig I do. So that's pretty cool. If you're ever down in Oceanside, let me know, guys. I'll hook you guys up. And also actually have a cool podcast with ESPN writer Cesar Hernandez and Drew Steck, our pal, who watch soccer movies and just rate them on a basis of them being
I love it.
Soccer. It's like a book club. It's really, really cool.
I love it.
Club. So
what was the last one you did?
That last one was they did Victory with Sylvester Stallone and Pele.
Oh yeah.
And then they've done She's the Man. I did Rudy Cursi
Great
with Chiva. So there's actually a lot of soccer movies out there.
You haven't done that Kuno Becker yet?
Oh, there is an Excel sheet that is absolutely filled. And like I said, Cesar Hernandez and Drew Steck are the ones that have that podcast on here. San Diego Punto Futbol, everything soccer in San Diego. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we make it to the World Cup, guys.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We'll definitely be seeing you in May. I'll be seeing you on Sunday. And chat, put your hands together for Tony Sanchez. Thanks so much for coming on, brother. We do appreciate. Nos vemos en mayo, ¿no?
Estamos. Gracias.
Gracias. Bye-bye. Well, chat, you heard from basically the San Diego FC insider himself, what this team is like. So it looks like the Galaxy have a good chance to take all 3 points here. But before we get out of here, we're going to go ahead and give you a couple of shout outs and announcements here in the Galaxy community. Happy birthday to Andrew Shu. He's one of the original 96ers. He did star in Melrose Place, but he also played for your LA Galaxy. He played for them 5 times. He had 1 assist. And he's Greg Vanney's teammate. So I'm sure that he has fond memories of Andrew Shu and his time together. We're also still celebrating Black History Month, guys. This week's card and shout out to El Ñaño from Comets, El Primo, is Raheem. So today, Raheem, he was the first player to join the LA Galaxy immediately after a season with LAFC. Second in assists, his debut season with the Galaxy with 6, and named Lars Player of the Year for the 2023 season. I was there after he was named Player of the Year, and he brought his son into the dressing room, and it was very, very cute. I wish him well. Where I don't remember where exactly he's at, but I do know that he got signed somewhere. So shout out to him, and good luck to him this season. The LA Kings are throwing LA Galaxy night on Tuesday, March 11th. They will be playing the New York Islanders. Tickets start at $29. Go ahead and go out and hang out with your fellow G's. And speaking of hanging out with your fellow G's, take a run with them as well with the G's Run LA. They're doing the first run of the season on Saturday, February 22nd at 10 a.m. at Absolution Brew in Torrance. So yeah, man, go ahead and get out there and have a couple beers afterwards. And speaking of, the Ñaños from 1-2 Threads, who, also put together the G's Run LA, the next Blue, White, and Gold pop-up is March 2nd at Common Sense Brewery from 12 to 5. Of course, this one is free, all ages, pet friendly, and you'll get to be part of that watch party. The Galaxy away versus Vancouver is going to be shown at 2 p.m. Make sure to catch that, and make sure to catch the new Major League Soccer documentary On Side, which drops tomorrow, Friday, 2/21. It looks like all 8 episodes are going to drop tomorrow. So go ahead and, binge watch that before Sunday. You can get all pumped up catching Ricky Pooch, because he's very prominently featured in episode 1 titled Back to Glory. And, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but, returned back to glory. Yes, the Galaxy did that. So the episode description: amid Messi mania, Miami and the LA Galaxy gear up for a huge early season test. Ricky Pooch opens up about the pressure of superstar expectations. I would say he handled those quite nicely over the season. But go ahead and check that out. Men in Blazers will also be doing a live show at the Digz main stadium tomorrow, Friday, February 21st. You will get to relive every moment of the history-making 2024 LA Galaxy season. Tickets are live now, and the best part about this is all proceeds get donated to the LAFD Foundation. Tickets are $29.99. There is an LA Galaxy skate deck that just got dropped. This is a collaboration between Soccer Fest. You can pick this up at Soccer Fest on Sunday, February 23rd. This is a collaboration between the LA Galaxy, DGK, and Modelo. and the Galaxy, true to form, and the form they've been in, killing it there on the socials. They said Modelo time fool, which I thought I would never see on Galaxy socials. But now they have a collaboration between these three. They did a skate deck, and they also have merch. The T-shirt is fire. Christian Ramirez was the model for this one, and the deck was inspired by or designed rather by the incredible FU USA, and it's really cool because it you don't catch this in the picture, but when you move it a certain way, it kind of does like that inverted Jesus thing where like wherever you go in the room, it like looks at you. Well, when you move it, it shows a soccer player or it shows a lion on the front, so it's really fresh. And then the Galaxy do have a couple of more events in the lead up to kickoff. You can still get your Galaxy coffee at Honey Green's Cafe from 8 to 6 till Sunday, and then on Saturday you can go ahead and catch the trophy at Pele Soccer from 2 to 4. And that about wraps us up. Ananda, anything else to add before we get out of here?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, I can't wait to get back in the stadium. Can't wait to see all you guys there. If you guys are going, please, obviously, get there safe, get home safe, all that stuff, and yeah, just have a really good time. Can't wait to see the stadium with y'all as well, and just sort of react to the sights, the sounds, the smells, whatever that just everything, right? And Rob, just before we go, I always try to give last word to chat, and it looks like the chat is pretty confident about this, although they do have some thoughts in terms of some worries or some concerns, or I think they're responding to for the Galaxy to win. They needed to blank ... Scott talked about connecting with the forwards. When only Rocio says for the Galaxy to win, they need to bring the speed and energy. I mean, we saw that a lot last year. Ken Chiller says San Diego as a team have only been together as a team for just a few weeks or just weeks. I would be stressed about a loss. It would be awesome if they find their feet, their first real game. And they said that he also said that the Galaxy can't be lax just because it's an expansion team, or you will be like Liverpool losing to a match to Plymouth. And this is what you're saying, which is play the game, right? Not the occasion. Don't play down to the level of your competition, which Galaxy teams in the past, guys, let's face it, they've been culprits of that, right? And Raul G caps it off with saying our team has to communicate and gel. That's tough with new players. Both teams will be dealing with this team with the same. Yeah, that's true. And I think, hopefully the week of practice has been good. Rob, you're going to get a good feel for the vibe tomorrow in terms of at media availability and just to see how the team is. I mean, you've talked a lot about last year in your chronicles of following the team, just how together that locker room was, and hopefully that transmits through itself right before the first game of the season. So yeah, looking forward to your coverage of that, and I'm just excited, man. Finally back at the Digz, and hopefully we can cap it off with a win.
Finally about the Digz, and it is a beauty. She is shining for y'all on Sunday. Well, after this match, the Galaxy plays its first road match of the season when they travel to Canada. They will face Vancouver Whitecaps next week on Sunday, March 2nd at 2 p.m. And, of course, we'll bring you our Vancouver Whitecaps preview pod on Thursday, February 27th. On the 24th, we will bring you our reaction pod to this first Galaxy match against San Diego. But until that happens, we will say thank you once again for being with us. Thank you to Tony Sanchez for being with us. And we can't wait to see you guys at the Digz on Sunday. If you see us, go ahead and come say hi. We would love to meet you. And yeah, I think that's there's only one thing left to say, which is Vamos Campeones, LA Strong, and G's up.
You and I.